Welcome to the podcast. This is Ron's Amazing Stories, where we play tales to take you away from today. On today's podcast, we board a train to catch a bad guy.
All aboard!
We also have a story that's about 7 minutes long that lasts an hour.
Impossible.
Tom Williams is back with a tale about a green frog. Well, let's start the show with this trip to the circus. It's murder.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by Pepper. Yes, that lovable but profoundly dumb detective who seems to be able to solve crimes without a clear thought in his brain. We truly do love Pepper, and I'm not talking the condiment here. Have an unsolvable crime? Give Pepper a go. You simply can't go wrong.
Inspector Craig, I just decided that working for the police department is very ratifying, especially even more so when it gets us free passes to the circus.
The word is gratifying, nimble-brain. To ratify means to put your stamp of approval on something.
So that's what I said. With me, it's very much okay. When I was a kid, I was always crazy to join the circus.
You know, Pepper, sometimes I wonder...
Yeah?
Oh, never mind.
Inspector Craig, I've been looking everywhere for you.
Oh, hello, Danny. Pepper and I want to thank you for the passes. I think the big show is better than ever this year.
I'm afraid I'm not going to be much of a host, Inspector. It seems the snake charmer's been found dead and...
Murder?
It looks like suicide. I'd like you to run over with me and give it a routine check. Sorry to bust in on your fun this way.
Looks like suicide to me, all right, Inspector.
An open and shut case, as far as I'm concerned.
It's so hard to believe. Dorothy.
You own part interest in the circus, don't you, Brian?
That's right, Inspector. Nat Bryan and I are partners. Nat, I can't tell you how sorry I am.
Thanks.
How long were you and Mrs. Bryan married?
Not long. I can't believe she'd do a thing like this.
She was the snake charmer, right?
Yes.
Suppose you tell us how it happened, Brian, so we can get the facts straight.
Well, lately, Dorothy and I... Well, that is, there have been disagreements, quarrels.
There was some talk about a trapeze artist, is that it?
Yes. Dorothy was insanely jealous and thought I was interested in a little tightrope walker.
Were you?
No, there never was anyone else for me but Dorothy. And now...
All right, go on.
I came here late this afternoon to get her to listen to reason. She refused to be reasonable. There was quite a scene, and finally she got up and ran into the dressing room.
Yes, I see. These tents are divided into little rooms. It's very clever. You were out here, is that it?
Yes.
And she went into what could be called the other room. All right, go on.
I had no idea what she intended to do. Otherwise, I just can't seem to realize.
We understand.
Of course we do, Nat. Go on.
Well, that's all there is. She shot herself. And I was sitting here all the time. After a while, I got up and left. I was seen coming from this direction by several people. That's why I came and told you this. I didn't want the police to think I was hiding anything.
You did the right thing, of course. This tent is set apart some distance from the others, isn't it?
Yes. No one wanted to be near the snake charmer's tent, in case any of them got loose.
That accounts for no one hearing the shot. There's one thing I don't get. How is it you didn't hear the sound of a gun going off?
I told you it was late afternoon, feeding time for the animals. Dorothy's tent is next to the giraffes. They were making such a racket hollering for their food, I couldn't hear.
Inspector, if I may make so bold as to make a remark here, this guy is, to put it bluntly, an awful liar.
Why, how dare
Are you sure?
Plain as the nose on my face.
Well, that's plain enough for me. Hold still, Brian. Don't make a move.
In a moment, Pepper will reveal the clue that led him to believe it was murder, not suicide. But first...
Well, Pepper's back and seems to have done it again. But what has got his attention this time? It's hard to say. Last time it was the art classes that his wife made him take. It gave him culture. What does he know that the rest of us mortals sadly lack in? I say we're just gonna have to go back to the story and see. Now remember, this 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by Pepper, the finest ingredient to solve a whodunit.
Now, back to our story.
You better explain, Pepper. How do you know he's lying?
Because giraffes is like turtles. they don't make noises. Brother, is he dumb?
Good work, Pepper. Okay, Brian, you're under arrest.
Well, there you have it. Giraffes don't make noise. The guy must be guilty. But is that true? It is. Giraffes do have a larynx, but they can't produce sufficient airflow to vibrate their vocal folds. Researchers say that the sound frequency they do make is too low for humans to hear. How about that? This 5-minute mystery was brought to you by Pepper. Yes, that lovable but profoundly dumb detective.
What's that you say?
I say that we have a story and a question. Jim, yes, my brother, sent in this question to the comment section of the website. Where can I go for the archives so I can find the shows that I missed? Jim. Well, as many of you remember, my brother was in the hospital. He had a pretty rough time and lost part of his leg to sepsis. He's doing very well now and is close to being able to walk again on his own. Let me just take a minute here and say how proud we are of him and how we, as his family, love him. Very cool, bro. Now to answer your question. All of the shows dating back to around 2012 can be found at ronsamazingstories.com. You can just keep scrolling down and you will be able to listen to any shows that you may have missed to about episode 70-ish. Now you can save some loading time by using the search box or the archive listings on the sidebar. Now you might be thinking, where are shows 1 through 80? Well, they can be found by searching Google for Ron's Amazing Stories and selecting the result, Ron's Amazing Stories, the archives. There you'll find all the older shows prior to 2012. Now, this summer I plan to move some more shows there, but for right now, there you have it. Tom Williams is back with another story from his remarkable past. You'll remember from previous episodes that he's told us about life in Berlin in 1961 and going to the movies in the 50s. He now treats us to this strange tale that he says, this truly happened to me, and it is my amazing story. The frog that wouldn't stay in the lake. My cousin told me that frogs are lucky. I don't know where she got that idea, but I never argued with her about it. She started collecting small porcelain frog figurines and had quite a collection. One day, she handed me a small green frog, which was in the kneeling position and had its hands clapped in a praying manner. "Here," she said, "this will bring you good luck." Well, I didn't believe in such things, but I took it anyway. I stuck it on my car's dashboard, and it remained there for a couple years. Due to the hot sun and time, the green paint flaked off its head, but I kept it anyways. I can say that I never had any noticeable change one way or the other. Then, all of a sudden, for an entire week, one thing went wrong after another. Things got so bad one day that as I pulled into my driveway at home, I grabbed the little green frog and tossed it into the lake at our apartment complex. It was an act of frustration, but a way to let off steam. And it did give me a sense of some satisfaction. The following morning, I arrived at my office before any of my employees. To get to my office door, you have to unlock another door, which no one has a key to. I stepped up to my office and I kicked something against the door. As I looked down, a cold chill traveled down my spine. I couldn't believe my eyes. There was that green frog, with the paint missing from its head. The very same frog I threw into the lake the night before. I had to sit down. I sat there holding the frog for several minutes in disbelief, wondering how this could be. I ultimately threw the frog in the dumpster and slammed the lid shut. It never returned, but I still cannot understand how something like that could ever happen. Recently, my wife and I talked about that incident with a friend who came over to visit. He asked us if someone had died before I threw the frog away. We were shocked. My cousin, who gave me the porcelain frog, had died shortly before. With all the problems I was having at the time, it never occurred to us that she may have retrieved the frog and laid it at my office door to say, "I'm okay and thinking of you." Now that truly is a twist to this story. Tom. Well, thank you, Tom. Again, that, I think, is truly incredible. Now, if you want to hear your story on Ron's Amazing Stories, come on now, do it. Everyone wants to hear your story, including me. So, go to ronsamazingstories.com and click on the comments section. You'll be glad you did. I love train travel. Always have. I remember as a young kid boarding the Amtrak Blue Line to Tacoma to go visit my brother. He was in the seminary there and lived in the upstairs apartment of my mom's cousin's home. Her name was Tootsie, and she was something. In her past, she was a torch singer and had the personality to match. If you're not sure what a torch singer is, think female crooner. Anyway, the best part of those trips was seeing my brother and riding the train. Our OTR tale for this week takes place on a train. A plainclothes police officer begins falling in love with the suspected girlfriend of a criminal he is attempting to catch. The story comes from the classic old-time radio series Suspense and is called The Girl in Car 32. It stars this week's blog subject, Victor Mature, and it first aired on March 15th, 1954.
Autolite and its 98,000 dealers bring you Mr. Victor Mature in tonight's presentation of Suspense. Tonight, Autolite presents the story of a cross-country train trip, during which a police officer finds himself torn between his assignment and his personal feelings for the girl in car 32. Our star, Mr. Victor Mature. This is Harlow Wilcox. Would you like to be responsible for your local church or hospital getting a big share of $100,000 in cash? Well, that's the total which will go to the recognized charities chosen by the 25 persons selected in the Autolite family charity drawing. The top award is $50,000, with 24 others from $1,000 to $20,000 each. To enter is as simple as signing your name and address, and that's all you do. Now, it's our privilege to have you hear what the head of one of America's finest organizations says about this great event. Here is Mr. E. Roland Harriman, chairman of the American Red Cross.
Thank you. The spirit of the Autolite Family Charity Plan is a fine example of the simple slogan of the Red Cross, people helping people. Just a slight effort to register may qualify you to be the benefactor of thousands who look to you for assistance through your Red Cross.
Fill out a registration form at any of the following Autolite family car dealers: DeSoto, Hudson, Plymouth, Studebaker, Dodge, Willis, Nash, Packard, Kaiser, or Chrysler. Remember, there's no obligation, but your favorite recognized charity may thank you for a large part of $100,000. Sign up tomorrow.
And now, Autolite presents transcribed The Girl in Car 32, starring Mr. Victor Mature, hoping once again to keep you in suspense.
Hey, Mahoney.
Bucher?
I can see better from here. How do you feel, kiddo?
Okay, I guess. Flying out here from New York last night and taking a train back this morning isn't my idea of fun, though.
Yeah, well, we'll show you L.A. next trip, baby. We got about 2 minutes.
You better tell me what this is all about.
We got a dame who's been living with Fritzy Hollister's sweetheart for the past couple of weeks. You know Fritzy.
Yeah. He's got a trunk full of hot jewelry I'd like to get my hands on.
Well, this is your chance, Mahoney. Now, we figure Fritzy's ducked the old girlfriend and made a connection with a new one. And her name is Genevieve Josephine Johnson. Now, here's the angle. She's heading east on this streamliner today, probably to wherever Fritzy's hanging around. It's a sit-up train. You're right across the aisle from her. So you work yourself in with her. And when you get a chance, check her luggage, find out where she's going to meet him.
I know.
Don't look so sad, kiddo. It's an easy job sitting on a train with a doll. Hey.
Oh, that one?
Yeah.
Genevieve Josephine Johnson.
Uh-huh. In the flesh.
I don't know. And I don't mean to argue with you. But to me, she just isn't the type for Fritzy Hollister.
Oh, stop your kidding. No job, for one thing. No family or background we can check. An apartment in Hollywood that rented for $450 a month.
Part of the act, huh? Everything else set?
All set.
All aboard!
Well, so long, kid.
So long.
All aboard! Bye! Good. Have a nice trip. Bye, Charlie.
Bye.
Porter. Yes, sir. Carry your bag, sir?
The bag's okay. My ticket says 32.
Car 32. Yes, sir. That'd be the next car down, sir. You can board right here. All reserved seats. Yes, sir.
Thanks. Pardon me. Pardon me, please. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss.
It's all right.
Careful now. Don't look at her sitting there in her little brown suit and white blouse. Just take off your hat, lay it on the seat, pick up your magazine. But don't look over there. No. Don't reach over and offer to light a cigarette. She can do it. She's okay. Don't lean across the aisle. Got plenty of time. It'll happen soon enough. So just relax and just let it happen. You know what you're doing, boy. That old Mahoney technique.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, hi, Bud.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Well, sir. Hello there, little lady. How are you, huh? Hey, you mind if I take your seat for a minute? I'm on my way to the club car. It's a long walk. Well, that's one way to sit down, huh? Now, what's the matter? Ain't I even human? Ain't I even looked at, huh? Hey, you. Well, Miss Hi-Hat. Hey.
Please go wherever you were going and leave me alone.
Ah, come on, little lady. Have a nice friendly drink with old Frank Tars. How about it, huh?
Pardon me, miss. Hey, you.
Hey, wait.
Now, just what's the idea, Buster? What are you doing in this car anyway? And what are you looking for? A good punch in the mouth, maybe?
No, he's bothering me, yes, but I don't want any trouble about this.
Oh, it's a hassle about, pal. I get off in a couple of minutes to San Bernardino. I didn't mean to insult anybody. All I thought that...
Yeah, all you thought. Then who asked you to sit down with the young lady, huh? Who wanted you? Why, I ought to...
Please, it's all right. It's perfectly all right. Just don't hit him more.
Where's your car?
It's back there.
Come on, I'll take you. I said, come on.
Just a minute.
Please,
Come on.
Don't
Get
hurt
moving.
him. Don't hurt him.
It's all right, miss. Don't you worry. Come on, move on.
Hey, now, wait just a minute. You know who I am?
Yeah, I know who you are.
Okay. You can let go now. So you're Bright Eyes, huh?
You can leave off the bright eyes.
Yeah, sure. It's your day to be touchy, huh? You look pretty good back in there. You see her wring her hands and wink them big brown eyes?
Where'll you be?
Compartment A next door whenever you need me. Well, she's waiting for you, Mr. Hero.
You know, I wish I had poked you, Dane.
You're a nice big New York copper, Mahoney. You got the jaw and you got the shoulders. I heard all about you. You look like you could do it. Well, I'm just a beefy blot working out of L.A.'s Central Division, but I could whip you, boy. So easy.
I'd better get back.
Yeah, sure. I envy you, Bright Eyes. You two will make a nice couple.
He won't bother you again, miss.
Oh, you didn't hurt him or anything like that, did you?
Oh, no. I just took him back to his car and asked him to stay away from you.
Oh, it was embarrassing. This is the first time anything like this has happened to me. I'm glad you helped out. Thank you very much.
There's no trouble at all. Oh,
What?
I'm out of matches.
Oh, well, I can help you there. I have some in my purse, I think. Yes. Here you are.
Thanks. Would you, care for a cigarette?
Well, thank you, yes. Why don't you sit down? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. What?
My goodness, it was kind of funny, wasn't it? He was so tight.
Yes. Yes, it was funny. The old razzmatazz. Don't ask, just answer. Don't laugh, but smile about it. Let her see your teeth. Don't move close, but let her know that you've got shoulders there, boy. And the other trick. Keep your hands open, spread out. Talk. Then stop. Look a while. Watch the orange groves go by. Watch the houses go by. Watch your life go by.
What? Oh, my goodness. You must have money in the bank. You're talking to yourself. What's the trouble?
I think I'll stop looking around out there. It's beginning to worry me. Too big or too empty or too something, I don't know. You, like it, do you?
Oh, it's lovely. The most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life. It's breathtaking. Oh, and people call me Jenny.
Jenny for Genevieve, huh?
Yep, Jenny Johnson.
Well, they call me Mahoney. And, some other things sometimes. My name's Harry. Oh, where are you heading anyway? All the way east?
All the way and more. Bayside Hills, Pennsylvania. I work in a dentist's office there.
Now that's funny. Maybe the suntan threw me. You know, I kind of thought you lived in L.A. And mostly that you didn't work.
Oh, dear. Well, I did live there for 3 weeks in a simply marvelous garden apartment in Hollywood, right off Sunset Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
They had a heated pool. Oh, it was wonderful.
It sounds expensive.
Oh, it was. Terribly. But I shared it with a couple of other girls off and on. Advertised in the papers, you know. Only...
Only? Well, go on. Something happened?
Only... Maybe I'm funny in some ways. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. But some things I just... Well, there's not much point of going into that part.
I get it. You got stuck with a cute little blonde who always wore your clothes or something.
Cute? Oh, not for my money, thank you. What happened, anyway, was that she got out last week after one of her parties. When I said what I had to say, she got out pretty darn fast, believe you me. My goodness, did I say something? Why are you staring at me?
Who? What? Oh, staring at you. Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Oh, now that's all right. My goodness. For some reason, it seemed like you were looking at me for the first time.
I seen you go to dinner with her. You're doing okay, Bright Eyes.
Yeah, but it doesn't add up. Too homespun for this trick.
Huh? Now, what's she done? Thrown up a smoke screen? That homespun stuff's all part of the act. She's Fritzy's girlfriend, all right. Remember, you're the operator, boy, not her.
She's going to a place in Pennsylvania.
She tell you she's got a little old mother and a little old father waiting for her back home?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great act. She's just a better actor than you are. Now, there's nothing in her luggage on the baggage car, but Fritzy must have slipped her some little trick in her. Hey, it took a lot of fixing to set this up, getting you the space across from her and all, so keep your eyes on her, Bright Eyes. That's what you're here for. Keep on her.
Hi.
Did you get your glass of water?
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be getting pretty late, doesn't it? Hadn't we better call it a night?
Oh,
What?
Why... Well, couldn't we sit here another half hour and just talk about things? Why couldn't we?
Oh, I suppose we could. That is, if you don't expect...
Oh, I don't expect anything.
Well, we'll talk about what?
We'll talk about you.
Oh, no, we won't. There's nothing to talk about.
That isn't the way I heard it.
Oh, you didn't hear anything about me.
You'd be surprised, sister.
What?
Nothing.
I don't think you want to talk very much, do you?
No, I want to find out something.
Harry, no.
Oh, anything the matter?
No, please. I don't care for that sort of thing. You promised. You said...
Oh.
Please?
Well, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. The first minute it got dark, though, you had to try it.
I told you I'm sorry.
Forget it.
You know, I'd like to tell you something. I'm not that kind of a guy. I never was. I've had so much of that stupid messing around.
Oh, so much of it? I see. Well, I haven't. And I don't think I'm sorry either. I want it to mean something with me, and it won't be stupid. That's silly, isn't it?
No, it isn't.
It's awfully late, really it is. I'll see you tomorrow.
Kansas City Star! Get your Kansas City Star here. Star here. Kansas City Star.
It's about time. Why didn't you come back last night?
I didn't feel like it.
Did you get anything else done?
I went through her suitcase when she was asleep.
Yeah?
Dresses and things, shoes, bathrobe, some stuff for underneath, that's all. The dress cost maybe $15 at the outside. It was the most expensive item there. And that suit that she's wearing went for $40 at a sale, you know that.
All right, so she's smart enough not only to act it, but to have the right props.
This isn't Fritzy's girlfriend. He wouldn't know one like this, and she wouldn't have one like him.
That's the second time you've said that. How do you know?
I just know. I found out.
You're getting older and you're getting dumber, Bright Eyes. You getting fed up?
She'd never have anything to do with somebody like Fritzy. I told you that once before, too.
Hey.
What?
Fritzy.
What?
Just walked by outside the window carrying a suitcase.
Get your star here. Get your star here. Kansas City Star.
Yeah, that's him, all right.
Yeah.
Getting on this car. You see the little guy in the overcoat, the cigarette?
You're right. It's Fritzy Hollister.
Yeah, sure I'm right. He just sat down beside Genevieve Josephine Johnson from Pennsylvania.
Well, you know, look, it could be just a coincidence.
So she's a nice kid, huh? Couldn't have anything to do with a bum like Fritzy, huh?
Come on.
Now, stay where you are. We'll make our play when the time comes.
Autolite is bringing you Mr. Victor Mature as star of The Girl in Car 32. Tonight's presentation in radio's outstanding theater of thrills, Suspense.
that's the car for me, Harlow.
You mean that new Packard that just passed, Jim?
Yes, sir. That's the popular price Packard Clipper, with the power and luxury that only Packard can put into a car. And have you seen the Packard Patrician? That's the finest car ever to bear that famous Packard name.
A name we're privileged to salute tonight on Suspense. Packard, an outstanding member of our worldwide Autolite family.
Well, Packard is outstanding in every way. Its ruggedness and dependability have withstood the most tortuous tests that Packard engineers can devise. Packards have proved over and over that they have what it takes under every road and weather condition. Yes, sir, Harlow, when you get an Autolite-equipped Packard, you get real value. And you get a car with one of the most famous of all fine car names, Packard.
Yes, and Autolite is proud of its long association with Packard and with Packard dealers everywhere.
And now, Autolite brings back to our Hollywood soundstage Mr. Victor Mature in Elliot Lewis's production of The Girl in Car 32, a tale well calculated to keep you in suspense.
Now use your head, Bright Eyes. It's no mistake, no crazy coincidence. Even if she sat there all day and hasn't talked to him once, the little bird in the blue overcoat is Fretzy Hollister. And you were trying to steal his girl. Use your head. She was fast enough and smart enough to spot you right off for what you were. And she handled you last night like a schoolboy. She couldn't warn him from the train, but she's given him a poke in the ribs or an elbow or something so he'll play it straight here. Sure. She's Fritzy's one chance. She'll work on you again, Bright Eyes. And watch that. Because you don't want to let either one of them slip off the hook.
Asleep?
No.
Cup of water?
No.
I'll drink it myself. I can't sleep. Not with that strange man over there.
What's so strange about him?
What?
Skip it.
Do you feel like talking?
Sure, let's talk. Why not? Sit down.
Thank you. Well, I wonder what this stop is going to be.
I'm glad you wanted to talk. But suppose you drop the Rube Girl routine, huh?
My goodness. You're all right in the daytime, but at night you come out with the silliest things. Say, what do you mean by that?
Big laugh. Big laugh for you.
What?
For a couple of minutes last night, I was stupid enough to believe you, sister.
What?
Not now, though, and don't you forget it.
What on earth are you talking about?
I said cut the act.
Well, I don't have to have anyone to talk to me like that. I think you're crazy. You must be. You must have something all twisted up in your head, or you wouldn't say things like this. Oh, darn. I've been so thirsty all day. I think I'll get some water.
Stay where you are. I'll get the water.
Now, see
I'll
here,
get the water.
Hi.
Hi.
What's the idea of leaving them together when we come in a station?
I'm sick of it. It happens here or else.
Now, look.
Shut up.
Hey, Fritzy jumped over in your seat.
Yeah.
And he's talking to her.
Yeah, he had to sooner or later. Right now, she's telling him I'm a cop and they'd better scram out while the scramming's good.
You hit it on the head, boy. There he goes, heading for the door.
He won't make it.
Hey.
Come on. Hey, Fritzy.
What?
I've been waiting for you to try something like this. Your girlfriend's pretty smart.
Look out, Bright Eyes. He's got a gun.
No, you don't.
You stay away from me. Stay away from me.
No good, Fritzy. No good.
Are you okay?
Yeah, here. Hold on to him.
All right. Hey, where you going?
To get his girlfriend. I want to attend to her personally. All right, stand back. Stand back. Get out of the way.
Say, what's all this? What's...
Police officers, keep these people back.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll do that, sir.
What on earth is it?
Stow that, baby. This is a pinch.
What?
Come on. Up on your feet. We've got Fritzy in a huddle.
How? You're hurting me.
And you're killing me with those big brown eyes.
Why, you just...
Pretty smart you were, only you forgot one little thing. You forgot the first rule of Broadway. Never hustle a hustler. Just who do you think you had anyway? Some clown on a train or Bright Eyes Mahoney? Cut up the tears. Come on.
Now then, what's it all about, Sergeant Mahoney? We can keep the man for carrying a gun.
That'll do for a starter. We've got 1 million charges against him. He pulled the biggest jewelry heist in the country last year.
You can get some papers out here to me?
Sergeant Daines is phoning Los Angeles right now.
All right. Now, what about the lady?
Hold her, too, for disturbing the peace if you have to. She's Fritzy's girlfriend. She'll be named accomplice.
Oh, I see. Well, she sure cries a lot. I'll hold him for you. Anything else you want from me?
Hey, Bright Eyes. We got a mix-up.
What do you mean?
Well, you're a little mixed up, boy. That's what I mean. I've been on the phone to L.A. straightening it out for you. Fritzy's old girlfriend and that other one had the apartment together in L.A., okay? But that's all. She's not tied up with Fritzy. She never was.
Why'd you meet her on the train?
Because Fritzy's girlfriend left an old trunk after her in the storeroom. How was this Johnson dame to know that there was a couple of $100,000 worth of stolen jewelry in the false bottom? Naturally, Fritzy wanted it back, so he found out this tomato you were bright-eyeing with was coming east, so he just grabbed a plane so he could meet her in K.C. He wanted that trunk, boy.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Well, sir, that's it. She's no more Fritzy's new girlfriend than I am. You know, it's funny how things work out. The trunk's been in a hock shop in L.A. all the time. Little Miss Muffet got rid of it to clean up the place when she moved. What's the matter? You sick or something?
I told you she wasn't Fritzy's girlfriend. I told you.
Well, I got that all straightened out for you now, Bright Eyes, so you...
Write out a release, will you, Sheriff, for Jenny Johnson?
Sure. Sure, glad to. You know, I wanted to do just what you did ever since that fella started talking. He bothers me.
The next one will be through tomorrow morning, Jenny.
Thank you.
It's a real nice train, streamliner and all. They have a compartment for you. Jenny, can I say anything? Can I do anything? You know, when I remember what I was beginning to feel in my heart and what I've done to you, I just...
In what? In your heart? Oh, you proved it, didn't you?
Oh, Jenny,
well,
look, I'm
that's
sorry.
all right, Bright Eyes. I heard them call you that. You're very clever with all women, and I'm very stupid, I suppose. I didn't even know the first rule of Broadway. But I know what I want anyway. I want you to leave me alone. I don't ever want to see you again.
Jenny, I know what I want. I found out sitting in that seat beside you.
You just get away from me, the things you said to me and the way you act. Because what? Because you cared for me, I suppose.
Because I cared for you, Jenny. You know something? I'm going to be on that train with you tomorrow morning. Yes, sir, Jenny. I'm going to be on that train with you.
Suspense, presented by Autolite. Tonight's star, Mr. Victor Mature.
This is Harlow Wilcox again. Remember, you now have a good chance to do your favorite local or national recognized charity the favor of a lifetime. If you're one of the 25 persons selected in the huge Autolite family charity drawing, you can name any recognized charity you wish to receive a big share of $100,000 in cash. Those charities can be schools, hospitals, churches, the American Red Cross, or any other recognized charity. So if you're 18 years or over, visit any of the following Autolite family car showrooms: DeSoto, Hudson, Plymouth, Studebaker, Dodge, Willis, Nash, Packard, Kaiser, or Chrysler. Print your name and address on the drawing registration form and have the car dealer sign it. That's all. Nothing to buy, try, or solve. So give your favorite recognized charity a chance to share in this huge $100,000 Autolite family opportunity. Visit any Autolite family car showroom and sign up tomorrow.
Next week, the story of a man who found that everything was against him. His wife distrusted him. His best friend had to give him an alibi, all because of a girl. A dead girl. It's called The Guilty Always Run. Our star, Mr. Tyrone Power. That's next week on Suspense. Suspense is transcribed and directed by Elliott Lewis, with music composed by Lucien Morwick and conducted by Lud Gluskin. The Girl in Car 32 was written for Suspense by E. Jack Newman from the story by Thomas Walsh. In tonight's story, Kathy Lewis was heard as Jenny and William Conrad as Dane. Featured in the cast were Herb Butterfield, Joseph Kearns, Roy Glenn, and John Daner.
Victor Mature appeared by arrangement with 20th Century Fox, producers of Prince Valiant in Technicolor and Cinescope, starring James Mason, Janet Leigh, and Robert Wagner.
And remember, next week, Mr. Tyrone Power in The Guilty Always Run.
This is the CBS Radio Network.
In truth, this episode probably fails just a bit. There are many positives. For example, the performance of the three main cast members, Victor Mature, Kathy Lewis, and William Conrad. They were all fantastic. Another plus is the episode manages to keep you guessing until the very end whether Kathy's character is a protagonist or antagonist. I think the thing that threw me off was that she was put through the ringer only to find out she was the wrong gal. The good news is they still managed to have a happy ending. Now, if I'd been Kathy, I might have given Victor a good slap across the cheek. As Beyonce says, put a ring on it. The date is June 18th, 1940, and this is A Moment in Time. It was a dark time for the British. Their country was in danger, and the future seemed hopeless. They felt alone, even though the United States had pledged support. They had not yet entered the fray. The speech? This was their finest hour. It was delivered by Winston Churchill to the House of Commons of the United Kingdom. The full speech lasted for 36 minutes and is available on archive.org. What you'll hear is the peroration or closing remarks. Take note of Churchill's tone and his warning to the United States.
What General Weygand has called the Battle of France is over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin. Upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life and the long continuity of our institutions and our empire. The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we can stand up to him, all Europe may be freed, and the life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted science. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duty, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour.
The speech was delivered to the Commons at 3:49 p.m. on June 18th. Churchill, as was his habit, made revisions to his 23-page typescript right up to and during the speech. The final passage of the speech, what you just heard, was laid out like a poem. Churchill's scholars consider this a reflective influence of the Old Testament Psalms. Whether true or not, I can't say. But I think it was done because Churchill knew the importance of these words to history. And now this.
As read by. Amazing stories read by amazing people.
This time on As Read By, we have The Story of an Hour, written by Kate Chopin. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is read by Heather Ordover or was sent in by Heather. I do know that the story was originally published in Vogue on December 6, 1894, as The Dream of an Hour. This one is unlike anything we've had on the show before, and I had to listen to it twice just to get it all. I encourage you to give this one a chance. On first appearance, it may seem drab, but I think it's worth it.
The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. Knowing that Mrs. Mallard was afflicted with a heart trouble, great care was taken to break to her as gently as possible the news of her husband's death. It was her sister Josephine who told her, in broken sentences, veiled hints that revealed in half-concealing. Her husband's friend Richards was there too, near her. It was he who had been in the newspaper office when intelligence of the railroad disaster was received, with Brentley Mallard's name leading the list of killed. He had only taken the time to assure himself of its truth by a second telegram, and had hastened to forestall any less careful, less tender friend in bearing the sad message. She did not hear the story as many women have heard the same, with a paralyzed inability to accept its significance. She wept at once, with sudden, wild abandonment, in her sister's arms. When the storm of grief had spent itself, she went away to her room alone. She would have no one follow her. There stood, facing the open window, a comfortable, roomy armchair. Into this she sank, pressed down by a physical exhaustion that haunted her body and seemed to reach into her soul. She could see in the open square before her the tops of trees that were all aquiver with the new spring life. The delicious breath of rain was in the air. In the street below, a peddler was crying his wares. The notes of a distant song which someone was singing reached her faintly, and countless sparrows were twittling in the eaves. There were patches of blue sky showing here and there through the clouds that had met and piled one above the other in the west facing her window. She sat with her head thrown back upon the cushion of the chair, quite motionless, except when a sob came up into her throat and shook her, as a child who has cried itself to sleep continues to sob in its dreams. She was young, with a fair, calm face whose lines bespoke repression and even a certain strength. But now There was a dull stare in her eyes, whose gaze was fixed away off yonder on one of those patches of blue sky. It was not a glance of reflection, but rather it indicated a suspension of intelligent thought. There was something coming to her, and she was waiting for it, fearfully. What was it? She did not know. It was too subtle and elusive to name, but she felt it, creeping out of the sky, reaching toward her through the sounds, the scents, the color that filled the air. Now her bosom rose and fell tumultuously. She was beginning to recognize this thing that was approaching to possess her, and she was striving to beat it back with her will, as powerless as her 2 white slender hands would have been. When she abandoned herself, a little whispered word escaped her slightly parted lips. She said it over and over under her breath. Free, free, free. The vacant stare and the look of terror that had followed it went from her eyes. They stayed keen and bright. Her pulses beat fast, and the coursing blood warmed and relaxed every inch of her body. She did not stop to ask if it were or were not a monstrous joy that held her. A clear and exalted perception enabled her to dismiss the suggestion as trivial. She knew that she would weep again when she saw the kind, tender hands folded in death, the face that had never looked, save with love, upon her, fixed and gray and dead. But she saw beyond that bitter moment a long procession of years to come that would belong to her absolutely, and she opened and spread her arms out to them in welcome. There would be no one to live for during those coming years. She would live for herself. There would be no powerful will bending hers in that blind persistence with which men and women believe they have a right to impose a private will upon a fellow creature. A kind intention or a cruel intention made the act seem no less a crime, as she looked upon it in that brief moment of illumination. And yet, she had loved him, sometimes. Often she had not. What did it matter? What could love, the unsolved mystery, count for in the face of this possession of self-assertion, which she suddenly recognized as the strongest impulse of her being? Free, body and soul free, she kept whispering. Josephine was kneeling before the closed door with her lips to the keyhole, imploring for admission. "Louise, open the door, I beg, open the door. You will make yourself ill. What are you doing, Louise? For heaven's sake, open the door." "Go away. I am not making myself ill." No, she was drinking in a very elixir of life through that open window. Her fancy was running riot all along those days ahead of her. Spring days and summer days and all sorts of days that would be her own. She breathed a quick prayer that life might be long. It was only yesterday she had thought with a shudder that life might be long. She arose at length and opened the door to her sister's importunities. There was a feverish triumph in her eyes, and she carried herself unwittingly like a goddess of victory. She clasped her sister's waist, and together they descended the stairs. Richard stood waiting for them at the bottom. Someone was opening the front door with a latch key. It was Bentley Mallard who entered, a little travel-stained, composedly carrying his gripsack and umbrella. He had been far from the scene of the accident, and did not even know there had been one. He stood amazed at Josephine's piercing cry, at Richard's quick motion to screen him from the view of his wife. When the doctors came, they said she had died of heart disease, of the joy that kills. End of the story of an hour.
Did you like that one? Please let us know. Its author was Kate Chopin. Now, she was considered by scholars to have been a forerunner of American 20th century feminist authors. How about that? In the books. If you're keeping track, this is episode 289. I can't believe how time flies. Coming up for episode 300, I've confirmed that Jim Harold will be joining us. For those who remember, he was there for number 200. Up next week, we head back into the world of science fiction, so I'll see you then. If you want to keep up with what's happening on Ron's Amazing Stories, please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or sign up for the weekly newsletter. All the links you're going to need and access to the blog can be found at ronsamazingstories.com. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's Amazing Stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.